I'm autistic, my husband's autistic, and our son is autistic. Now that makes us an autistic family. So what's it like living in an autistic household all together? Well, it can be challenging, but it can also be great. It has its pros and cons. So I know everyone has their own ways, that is whether you're autistic or not. But when you're autistic, there are certain things that just sort of have to be done. So for example, my son very much likes routine, so we can't say, for example, start all sitting down and having breakfast together at one time, and then the next day or a couple of days later say we're not doing that anymore, because he will get so used to that routine, and when that routine changes he finds that very difficult. So we have to be very careful what we say. So we can't sort of say, you know, like how you say if your kid's asking you for something, you go, oh yeah, we'll do that later. You have to say something along the lines of we'll see, or maybe, or if I've got time. Because if you say, oh yeah, we'll do that later, and then it gets to later and he'll be like, right, well, we're doing that thing now. And be like, no. So, well, you said we'd do it later. So you have to be really careful with what you say and how you say it. We all have our own sensitivities. My son is incredibly loud. I am incredibly sensitive to loud noises. My husband is very sensitive with smells, and we have a lot of rescue animals which can be smelly sometimes, and he finds that very difficult. You know, my son has no spatial awareness whatsoever, so he's always constantly wanting to be sort of here when you want him there. And I find that very claustrophobic. He's, you know, very difficult at night times. There's all sorts of different things you have to kind of weigh up. And apologies for my sneezing. I don't have a cold, it's just something's just got up my nose before this video. I just had a massive sneezing fit. So apologies for that. So yeah, it's very difficult in a way. You have to sort of learn to accommodate for everyone else's needs. And that can be tiring, especially when you have quite a few needs and accommodations you need for yourself. But on the plus side of it, because we all have these ways and we all have a brain that works differently to neurotypical people, although our brains aren't all the same and every autistic person is unique, we do somehow just sort of click into place, a bit like a puzzle. So I imagine that if perhaps you just have one autistic person in a family of neurotypicals, you could feel very alien. Whereas because we're all neurodivergent together, yes, it has its challenges, but it also does mean we're very close and we're very intuitive when it comes to others and what that other person needs, even if it could be quite frustrating for us. There are certain things that I know that I do. For example, I have a very loud sneeze and it really hurts my husband when I sneeze. So I have to try and be mindful of that. You know, there are too many to go into, but if you live as an autistic family, as a neurodivergent family, I do think it really works. And yes, it can be challenging and tiring because you're always constantly having to think about other people's needs when your needs are so great. But we do click, like I said, we do find that we fit like a puzzle better than I think if maybe two of us were autistic and one wasn't. I think that might find that a bit difficult. I mean, I don't know because I don't have that experience. So if you are autistic and you're in an autistic family, do you find that that works quite well? Do you mesh together quite well? Or do you find that that is really challenging because you've got such needs and that other person might really not get, they're very involved in their needs, so that might not come across so well? Or do you find it that you are neurotypical and you have an autistic family and you find that really difficult because they're all autistic and they all have their needs and your needs perhaps get pushed to the side because they aren't seen as important? I don't know. Please share your thoughts on this subject. What is also interesting is because until our son was around, I suppose, oh, he's nearly 11 now, so until he was around maybe 8, we weren't really aware of him being autistic because he's always been homeschooled. It's always just been the three of us. We never really had any sort of family help or anyone nearby, so we never really had anything to compare it to. But once we started realising that he may be autistic and we found out there was autism in both our families, we started to become more aware of it, and then obviously we found out that we were autistic as well. So we didn't know we were autistic. We just thought we found things difficult, you know, like for example when we were young, when my son was younger, and we used to take him to sort of baby groups and things, and we used to find it really difficult. He didn't thrive in them, he didn't really like them. We certainly didn't like having to do all the small talk and the chit chat and be around all the germs and blah. So we found it really difficult, and we just thought we were weird, and like maybe we just weren't sort of born to be parents, we weren't natural parents, but actually it's because of our autism. So that having that awareness has been a lot better. But anyway, I'm totally digressing and rambling on. But if you can relate as an autistic family, please do reach out and let me know, because I'd love to know your experiences. And thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe.